Both of these programs have sent players on to big college careers and beyond. That's because these games are just like the Super Bowl for these high school players. Now, I just got a text message from Representative Alan Peake. He says they are still working at this hour to find a compromise. You at home, if you want to follow along with us as we put this together, go to our Facebook page. Just look for GPB Sports on Facebook. There you will find the recipe. Right now, police are booking Senator Vincent Fort and several others into the Fulton County Jail after a protest. It has been a great season of football here on GPB, but now we turn our attention to tonight. Those district attorneys did have some concerns about being responsible for trying these cases. You did pass an amendment today that changes that. Do you think that strikes a good balance? And they are going to show you some ways that you can get involved in all of our coverage this weekend if you can't make it here to the Coliseum. So take a look. Our first person here, he's got the gpb.org/sports website up. These games, they aren't just about the athletes. In fact, we found a group of students at Walton who put their mad scientist skills to work and created a robot with school spirit. At Walton High School, this T-shirt cannon robot has become as big a part of Friday Night Football as homecoming or busting banners.
I think one of the most fun parts is seeing the crowd's reaction to it. No matter if you make it or you miss, people are just so impressed by it that they just jump back and are like, whoa, there's a T-shirt coming at me.
The brains behind the bot are here at Walton Robotics. A team of students meets throughout the year at this 8,000 square foot space donated by one of their many sponsors. That includes the Football Booster Club, which is one of the forces behind the cannon.
It's really nice because I've actually had football players come up to me and be like, you guys are going to be at the game on Friday, right? You're going to have your T-shirt cannon there, and they're excited to see it.
The football team partnership has boosted the robotics team's profile at Walton, but they've been fielding their own team since 2008, competing in a nationwide robotics challenge.
They're just like a sporting event. There's people cheering, there's people dressed up wildly and waving posters. There's a commentator oh, now Team 2974 is getting ready to shoot, and it's ridiculous, and there's music blasting, and it's so much fun.
Whether they're shooting frisbees or cotton tees, these robots are designed to help students get more engaged in science, technology, engineering, and math education.
Woo! I got all four.
It's amazing to see everyone thinks now that STEM is something cool and something that's actually, it's important.
And a few free T-shirts.
No!
If you can catch them, it can't hurt. That was so much fun. Those kids are brilliant, and they use it in a really fun way. And coming up in January, that's when they're going to be competing in their next big competition. They have 6 weeks from the date that they find out what their next challenge will be to build a robot and then put it to the test.
Well, in case you haven't noticed, it's an election year for the governor, as well as many other statewide offices, and Democrat Jason Carter isn't the only thing incumbent Republican Nathan Deal has to worry about.
Our Claire Sims sat down with both of Deal's Republican challengers ahead of next week's gubernatorial debate. Here's her story.
It's great to be with y'all.
From round tables
Fine, thank you.
to kitchen tables, State School Superintendent John Barge and former Dalton Mayor David Pennington are hitting the campaign trail hard in their bids to represent conservatives in the November governor's race.
From the governor's office and specifically the budget, we have underfunded public education horribly.
From his farm in Kingston, Georgia, just east of Rome, Barge explains most of his platform centers around education and restoring the hundreds of millions of dollars state leaders have cut from public schools over the last decade.
I felt like I didn't have much of a choice but to step up and fight for education because the children in this state, 1.7 million that are in our public school system, need those teachers, they need those resources. And they need a state that believes in them and invests in them. Education and economic development are inextricably linked.
Barge tells potential voters that investing in education will pay dividends in economic development, preparing graduates for high-paying jobs and drawing businesses to Georgia for quality employees.
The governor claims we're the #1 state in the nation to do business. That's a nice claim, and unemployment's down. We're still higher than the national average. But with all of that, we are still 5th in the nation in poverty.
No state has ever created wealth
by bribing foreign capitalists to put a plant here.
Pennington also takes issue with Nathan Deal's campaign message that the governor's leadership is making Georgia the #1 state for business. A small businessman himself, Pennington is running his campaign out of his second-floor Dalton insurance office. He says state tax breaks are a short-term draw for companies and believes the state should focus instead on limiting government barriers to growth.
You create wealth the way Dalton has. Entrepreneurs starting their businesses, building their businesses, and paying Georgia taxes.
It may be that philosophy that has some calling Pennington the Tea Party candidate in the race, but he doesn't agree.
The political pundits love labeling people, for whatever reason, and that's what they want to label me as. I don't trying to get to the right of anybody. This is who I am. If you follow me at all over the last year or 5 years ago or when I'm mayor, I don't change positions. I've told people many times, if you like me today, you're going to like me tomorrow. If you don't like me today, you're not going to like me tomorrow either, because I'm not going to change.
Both men consider themselves to be the different choice in the Republican primary. Pennington says both Deal and Barge have made their careers in government, while he's made a life in spite of it. But Barge argues he's not a career candidate, having spent his time in education rather than political office.
I bring something different to the table, a good dose of reality, I suppose.
I love this state the same way I love the city, and I know we're heading in the wrong direction rapidly.
But Pennington and Barge are quick to admit their true opponent in the race is Governor Deal, and they hope their campaigns will show Georgia voters there's not just one person who can represent a conservative viewpoint in the general election.
People have a choice this election. I don't think incumbency, should give you a free ticket or a free pass, to a second term. I think you need to earn that.
Voters will decide whether they agree on May 20th. Claire Sims, GPB News. Emergency responders, as you just heard, have been focusing today on getting abandoned cars off the road. According to GEMA, drivers left behind more than 2,000 cars during that storm.
It was horrible. I still cannot get over those last 2 days. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
For Barbara Anderson, the nightmare is almost over. The Georgia National Guard is helping her find her Pontiac after she abandoned it on the side of 285. Anderson says she left her home in Stone Mountain Tuesday afternoon, headed to work in Dunwoody, but
never happened. Couldn't get off the highway. Could not get off the highway. I tried 3 exits, was not successful. So I decided to pull over to the corner like everyone else and stay there.
Today, state agencies are manning 2 sites where drivers like Anderson can go to get help. This one at the Westlake MARTA station off I-20 and another on the city's north side. Members of the National Guard, the State Patrol, and GEMA are giving people rides to their cars, jumping their batteries, and filling their tanks to get things moving again.
We want Atlanta to be back in business tomorrow. That helps people get back to their normal lives, and it'll get the roads back to normal, because we anticipate tomorrow that folks are going back to work. And every day in Atlanta is a traffic day. It doesn't matter if there's snow or not.
Anderson is finally headed back to work today after spending 17 hours trying to get there earlier this week. And while she's grateful for all the strangers who've lent a helping hand, she hopes state officials will make sure things run more smoothly in the future.
But they need to learn from this and what happened in the past. Do a better job. It was horrible out there, horrible.
If you left your car on the side of the road, you have a little less than 2 hours to go get it. The State Patrol announced they will begin towing cars around 9 o'clock tonight to prepare for tomorrow's rush hour. The State House and Senate did not meet today or yesterday because of the winter storm, but they still officially count these days as legislative days.